The attribute transfer SOP is really great for times when you want to take attributes from one object and bring it over to another object. If you're trying to transfer between two objects of the same topology, you actually want to use an attribute copy because this node will perform much more quickly. But assuming that you have two objects that don't have the same topology, then you want to use the attribute transfer to bring that over. In this example, we have these shoes. The reason why we can see texture right now in this viewport is because of this shop_material path attributes. But let's say that we multiply CD, the color, against what our viewport is seeing. So here I have an attribute create, and right now we multiply black with the CD attribute. So I'd like to transfer color from this sphere. Let's say that we have an attribute right here called CD, that's white, over to our shoe. So how does that work? Let me start with the default settings here. And right away, we'll see that in the attributes tab, we have the attributes that we want to specify. So you can do the drop down right there. You can type out the attributes. Just be sure that if it's a point attribute, you go to the points, prims are prims, and so on. Now, in the conditions tab, this is where all the action happens. The first thing I would do before anything else is to take this distance threshold right here down to 0. We can see what this does if we middle mouse and slowly bring up these values. So as you can see, this distance allows the point attributes to project a certain distance away from the original points. Obviously, the points that are closer to the boots are getting picked up. So that's what we see along here. They're within that distance threshold, but we're not feathering this out at all. Instead, what we can use for that is the blend width. So as we turn this up, we can see that slowly but surely, this starts to fade outwards in a nice gradual way. What you could do as well is just set the distance threshold to 0 and only rely on the blend width. The nice thing about this is that it ensures that we are properly feathering things out away from the source points. So a lot of times I'll just turn up this blend width and have 0 on the distance threshold. Up here towards the top, we have the kernel function. This relates to the fall off that we'd like to have away from those points. So as I change this, you'll notice that different options give different gradients or interpolations away from the points. In most situations, the Willville model is fine. If you want something a bit softer, RenderMan's not too bad either. I think Blend is going to be the softest filter out of all of them. But in general, this is just down to personal preference and whatever works for your situation. Let's say that we go with the RenderMan model. So if we turn up the blur like this, we have a nice fall off going away from the boots. But what's the deal with this kernel radius and this max sample count? These two settings relate to a situation where the attribute values from our sphere have different values along them. So in this example, instead of everything being white, what if we randomize every single color? How does the boot know which color it needs to pick up? That's what the max sample count and the kernel radius are here to figure out. And if we plug this in, you'll notice that right now we have these splotches going on because if the max sample count is set to 1, it will just find the nearest point and take that value. However, I can start blending this if I turn up the max sample count. So now it's going to take multiple points into consideration when it goes to figure out that color. And because multiple points have different color values, that's when we start blending these color values together. One last thing to bring this all together. Let's say that our kernel radius is 0. you'll notice that now once I set that to 0, we have our patches of color again. And so if I turn this up, nothing will happen. If I start turning up the kernel radius, watch what happens to the borders of these colored regions. They're going to start blurring out. And so as I turn this up, you'll notice that as these points enter into the kernel radius, they start taking up what we have here in the max sample count. So the kernel radius is basically there to tell the max sample count where to go. As I turn this down, it's going to allow me to have areas that blur out and kind of blend between multiple points, and areas that don't fall within that radius and just have the normal splotches of colors like on the right boots. For more videos that are thorough, simplified, and straight to the point, check out cgforge.com. I also offer one-on-one professional consultations as well as mentorships that help you attain your Houdini goals more quickly. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.